Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host Maxine and we're on episode 102. 102, okay? Whoo, child, I have a story for y'all. A story that literally just happened yesterday. And when the story began, so when the experience began, I knew from the beginning, oh child, I can't wait to talk about it on the podcast. This is great. This is great for content. That's exactly what I was thinking when this experience began, that I'm about to share in a moment. And I think it's so funny how I live my life out loud. Like I am a walking testimony of what I say, what I do. I am typically preaching doing what I'm preaching. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, I'm typically doing what I'm preaching. I am actively going through the motions. I am actively learning and growing and making better decisions. And I just want to give myself a shout out because as this experience was happening, I was realizing the growth that I have. I was giving myself pause to take a moment to reflect on the growth. And let me just get into it, okay? Because you're like, what are we getting to? I know, the suspense, the anticipation. That is why I do this shit. But it's also very therapeutic for me. So anyway, okay, let's start from Friday night. What's going on Fridays with me? Fridays, I'm either having breakthroughs. Like it's literally always one or the other, and it's the same option. Something's always going on Friday for me lately. That's how it's been lately. I've been realizing something. I've been moving forward from an obstacle. I've been changing my mindset about something, and it's been a breakthrough. That has been my experience lately, specifically on Fridays. Okay, so Friday comes, and it's the day before the Thanksgiving break. So we have a week off, as teachers, we have holidays off, and we have a week off for the holiday, for Thanksgiving specifically. So Friday is the last day before the holiday break, and we're all, tying up our loose ends, making sure everything is good to go, job wise, getting our grades in, making sure everything, all that stuff. I don't even talk about work like that because it's work, like, okay. But I'm just giving you the idea of what that Friday is for me. I'm already ahead of the game work wise. I just had this realization a moment ago, right before I hit record, that productivity brings me joy. It does. And I know that may sound imperialistic. I know that may sound like a white colonizer. Maybe I am. Maybe my past life I was a white colonizer, because I get joy from productivity. I get joy from knowing that I was supposed to do something, or knowing that I had a plan for myself. I had a goal, whether it's a small or a big goal for myself, and I've accomplished that goal, right? And I've either accomplished all the goals for that day, or most of the goals, or even a few of the goals for that day. I've accomplished it. And that brings me joy. Productivity brings me joy. Knowing that I said I was going to do something and I did it. Oh, that makes me feel so good. So good. So I'm ahead of the curves with my grades. Getting my lesson plans already in order. So when the week we return, that's already done. There's no Miss Morency, make sure you get this. It's done. Thank you. And that brings me joy. So I'm wrapping up, and thankfully all week we were able to actually leave early. Earlier than our typical dismissal time for teachers and staff. So we're wrapping up. I'm starting to get a little headache. I don't know why. I think it was because, I realized it was because my lunch that I ate wasn't fulfilling enough for me. And whenever I'm hungry and it's a delayed hunger, I get a headache. Like I feel it in my body and I have to do something. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, am I okay? Is this COVID? But I was fine. I checked out a soul food spot that I was considering to eat a couple of days later. But I'm like, let me check it out now. Really, really great. It's called Mickey's here in Houston. So if you're in the Houston area, if you want some good authentic soul food, and they're actually doing a Thanksgiving, so I'm not even getting sponsored by them right now. What the fuck? But in due time, I may be. But it's a really, really good spot, and I really enjoyed it. It was my first time. So my day, so that's how my Friday's going. I'm eating my food. I have the house to myself. And listen to the last episode if you know what I'm talking about. I am living in a house. I live in my uncle's house, and that's for my own personal goals to be completed. And this little detour is for my setup, is for my success. So I'll talk about that more later on in this episode, so you guys can understand where I was coming from more so in the last episode. Even though I gave a disclaimer, I want to give more of a context to it, but I'll get to that later. But anyway, so Friday, I'm back at the house. I'm alone, and I'm just like doing my thing. I'm eating my food. I'm watching my shows, catching up with my shows. And I'm wrapping up for the night. Even though it's a Friday, I know it's it's Friday. We should go out. I don't have a desire to go out. Like, I only want to go out to quality places with quality people so I can have a quality good old time. Otherwise, I feel like it's a waste. Like, I'm driving out from a suburban area in Texas to go to a downtown Houston area for what? If I'm not going to have a guaranteed good time, if I'm not going to meet a nigga who I really like, I don't want to go out. Like, I'm fine. So I'm winding down, and I'm about to go to sleep at 9. Like, okay, what's up? Shame me if you want, but that's me. Like, I love my sleep. I'm gonna go to sleep. If nothing else, I'm going to sleep. That's me. So the way my phone is set up is I have the do not disturb setting on a particular schedule. And every weekday, Monday through Friday, my schedule is set up where starting at 9:30 or maybe even 8:30, my calls, notifications, texts, all of that is DND. Okay, you cannot reach me unless my phone is unlocked and I'm still on my phone. Then I will see your text or call. Otherwise, when my phone is locked, I won't receive your message until the following morning, and I check my phone. So at this point, it's 9 o'clock, and I'm winding down. My phone is locked. D&D is turned on. I'm going to bed. And I actually went to sleep early because that food put the itis in me, and I was just ready to go to sleep. So I went to sleep at 8:30, I would say, actually. And typically when I go to sleep early, I do wake up in the middle of the night, and that's just a part of my process. But whatever. So I go to sleep early. I wake up at 2 a.m. And of course I check my phone. So I check my phone, and look at what we got here. I get a text from whom? And I'm going to pause, and I'm going to give you guys a moment to guess. I know I can't hear you. I'm going to act like I hear you. And I'm going to give you options to choose from. Do I get a text from Boston Bay, Church Bay, or who other bays y'all know? Well, LL Bay. I feel like I haven't talked about her too much, but like, let's just give it to those two. Boston Bay or Church Bay. Okay? Boston Bay or Church Bay. Which one of the two did I get a text from? I'll wait. What you say? Say it again. I got a text from Church Bay. Now, let me give y'all a little context. What was the last episode I talked about him? I don't remember, but go back to a couple of episodes ago and you'll know a little bit more about our history. So with Church Bay, I stopped talking to him almost 3 months ago. And I left him on red because it was just not working. The communication style between us wasn't working because there is a mental disconnect. And I'm being polite. I know I'm on my podcast. Why am I being polite? I'm being polite because what I really mean by mental disconnect, there's a dumbness. Is dumbness even a word? The irony in that. But there's a dumbness when it comes to him. There's just a lack of intellectual intelligence, intellect, all of that. Like, he's just dumb. Certain things he's just dumb about. Like the way that he processes things and goes about. I know I'm sounding so mean. I'm not trying to be mean, but that is the mental disconnect. Okay. And there was just a lot of things going on between us that resulted into me really deciding like, okay, this is really not working out. And why am I trying to make it work? And the reason why I was trying to make it work with him was he was a good guy, essentially. Like, out of all the guys I've dated, he was one of the few whom actually showed that he gave a fuck about me. He was curious about my day. He asked me about my day. He really wanted to know how my day is. He would check in with me constantly, and he made me feel seen and wanted, and that was nice. So on that level, right, that's where I was being fed in that situation. But as we were, getting to know each other more and dating and all that, I was just realizing this is a lot of differences between us that I cannot surpass. I've said this since the beginning, and y'all already know, he is 4 years younger than me. And I know there are many relationships out there in which there's an age gap, right? There's a complete strong difference in age. And I'm not interested anymore in being with someone who is younger than me, and not just two or 1 year younger. 1 year doesn't even count, right? But a good 4 years younger than me is a lot. And to be the woman here, and I believe in different roles. I do believe there's a role you play as a woman in a relationship with a man. I do. Call it old fashioned, call it what you want. I want my man to be a leader. I want my man to know how to lead. I would like to submit. What? Maxine just said that? I'd like to submit to someone who's smart, and not submit in a way, because there's this warped understanding with submission. Submission does not mean weakness. It does not mean you suddenly are tied up in your basement dungeon and you just follow and oblige by whatever your husband says. No. Maybe it meant that for some marriages, but that's not what I mean by submission. Submission to me means I'm listening to what you're saying. What you're saying sounds sound and wise. And so I'm going to follow you. I'm going to take your lead on this area in our relationship. So like, if you are more knowledgeable about keeping our finances intact, I will submit to what you're saying. I would let you take that lead. That's what submission means to me. It's not about not having an opinion. It's about knowing who is more proficient in this area and who is more able to lead us as a couple in this area. I'll gladly submit to you. I will put the knife down. Like, it's totally fine. It's not a big deal. So anyway, there is submission that I believe in a relationship between, and I'm being specific to heterosexual relationships. I don't know if it's the same in homosexual ones. I don't know, but specifically in heterosexual ones, that's what I'm referring to. And with him, I don't trust that he's able to lead me in any ways in our relationship. Like, I don't trust that he's intellectually proficient enough to lead me, to guide me, to walk me down this path. And I say that because there's a lot of there's just culturally with him, we're both Haitian, right? So we're both Haitian, but he just has this this juvenile, youth-like mindset in which he doesn't know what it means to explore your thinking. He's not easily, you know how I talk, right? I'm critical. I use my thinking skills. I ask questions. I have a curiosity. I am engaging more into learning about different things, and that excites me. That brings me joy too. Not just productivity, but what brings me joy is my curiosity, my desire to learn more. That's joyful for me. With him, he has this mindset that's just not there. It's not there. And it's just, I'm always the one introducing new ideas. I'm always the one introducing him to new ways of thinking, of growing, of living in this world. And he's just very stuck in this fixed mindset that I just cannot mesh with. Cultural differences, like he doesn't have the experiences of eating a steak meal. Like, it is like, wait, what? Yeah. And that's a big deal to me because it just shows me your lack of exposure, your lack of experience. He doesn't travel. Okay. He doesn't know what to eat, what to put in his body in order to live a healthy lifestyle. In the story that I'm about to tell you in a moment, we were out eating breakfast. And he ordered something that included avocado. When his plate came, he said he never had avocado before. And I'm like, wait, what? He never had avocado before. He's like, no, I never had it before. And I'm just sitting there like, what have you had? He hasn't had steak before. He hasn't had avocado. He then says, because my plate has lobster, including in my omelet. And he said how he never had lobster before. Oh, no. He said how he tried lobster. The first time he tried a seafood item, it was sushi and lobster and I think something else. Or maybe it was just those two things. He it was a traumatic experience he was describing to me. He said how his friends knew that he didn't want seafood, even though he didn't have a reason why. He just didn't want. I guess he didn't like how it looks. Just like more juvenile thinking, right? Like, what do you mean you don't like how something looks and that's why you're not eating it? Okay. So his friends knew that he didn't want this seafood item, and they acted like they were gonna oblige to what he said he didn't want. And they actually ended up forcing, like I guess they just shoved it in his face. It was, I forgot exactly how he described it, but they forced it down his mouth and he was just so turned off because he didn't expect it, right? He already told them that he didn't want to eat this, and having his friends force this down his face, it just turned him off even more to seafood in general. And specifically, he had a lobster and sushi seaweed wrap or something like that. So that turned him off then. And ever since that moment, he's never had it again. And I'm just sitting there thinking, what? So this one weak ass experience of being forced to eat seafood just turned you off so much so that you don't want to eat it ever, or that you haven't eaten it ever again since that moment in time. Like, it's just, that way of thinking to me is just so dumb. Like, that's just the dumbness that I'm talking about, y'all. So he sits back and he's like, yeah, he hasn't had avocado. He hasn't had seafood since that experience. And he hasn't had avocado, period. And he was trying it out for the first time. Like, it was like, y'all, the dramatics, I can't explain it. I can't explain the dramatics to his taste buds feeling the avocado for the first time in his 24 years of existence. Or 5. I don't know how old he is, but he's 4 years younger than me. So 5. Well, he's 25 now. So he eats the avocado. And I'm eating my food just like, okay, looking around the restaurant, looking at the screen because there's an actual TV or plasma, something going on, and there's a game on. I'm just looking at the TV. And he's just like, oh, wow, this is really, oh, wow, this is really good. Wow. And he took another bite and he's like, wow, this is really, really good. And he takes another bite. Wow, this is really, really good. Wow. And I'm just sitting there like, what? I'm sitting there like, are you okay? This avocado got you feeling like, wow, a whole new world literally just bursted in his mouth. And I'm just at a loss because this is not even that big of a, like, let me get you some steak, nigga, so you know what the fuck going on. It's not even that big of a deal. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, you don't have to react like that every second. And he's just like, no, I just never had it before. It's actually really good. It was just watching a child. It was watching a child eat for the first time. Like, wow, I never had solid food, for example. And the child is eating solid food and is just at a loss because it's a whole new world. And that's acceptable for a baby. It's acceptable for a toddler, but not a man who's in his 20s, in his mid-20s. It just makes me more in completion with my decision to letting this situation go, because I just don't understand why I was trying to make it work in the first place with the 25-year-old, period. So that's just a quick example. So let's go back to the very beginning of the story. Okay. I wake up in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. I check my phone. I get a text from him. What does the text read? So he texts me at 1:27 a.m. and he says, hey, Maxine, I just wanted to say hello and that I'm in Texas. You're probably not even up though. I didn't get to see you last time and I was hoping I could come see you, ? I got this place to myself. I can come get you and we can hang before I leave. So, and then I realized, oh, he called me. He called me once prior to the text, or right after the text, actually. So I'm reading this and I'm just like processing, like, am I reading this correctly? Because mind you, I didn't have him unblocked. I didn't have him blocked. And I didn't have him blocked. So he was able to text me and I was able to read it just fine. But I'm processing this because I haven't heard from you, obviously, because I let them on read. But like, still, I haven't heard from you in almost 3 months. And now you hit me up on some, hey, big head, I'm in town. So I'm just like, wait, what? Okay. So I'm just trying to decide, how should I respond to this? Because there's a couple of things in this text. Y'all know me. I would read a text, every letter 3 times over to really understand what you mean. Okay? Because words are so powerful. You know, and when we sit back and just read words, we really get a feeling from words. And the feeling I was getting when he said, I got this place to myself, I can come get you and we could hang before I leave, made me think to myself that, at what time are you leaving? Why are you suddenly sending me this text? And it seems like you're about to leave in 2 minutes. Like, the urgency in which you texted me this text makes me feel like you're about to leave literally in 2 hours max. And you just want to make sure I want to know if you're free so I could come and hopefully see you. And it's just asinine to me, to say the least. But I'm just still trying to process it. I respond. I'm like, hey, David, sorry, I just woke up. And I said, yeah, that sounds good. And let me tell y'all why I decided to say that. Because at this point, it's Saturday morning. And I said to myself, you know what? Why the fuck not? Like, let's see how this turns out. I'm just curious. Y'all know I'm a curious bitch. I'm just curious. And initially at this moment, I was thinking to myself, ooh, what a great story this will be for the podcast. So all of this motivated me to just go forward with it and see what happens. I was initially thinking of like, what if he says all the right things? What if everything just goes back to how they were and even better? Like, I was just how instantly many women we're instantly going in our heads and creating this fantasy. I know I've said this many, many times on this podcast, how I would create a whole fantasy about this relationship in my head, knowing that the reality is nowhere near this fantasy, knowing that you don't really give a fuck about me. And I'm not talking about church bae in particular, but I'm just talking about in general. I've created fantasies in my head about the guy who I'm interested in, and I've created this whole life. I created scenes and scenarios between us and how he would hold me and touch me, etc. And yet the guy in reality does none of that. Like, literally does none of that. Doesn't call me much, hardly says hello, hardly checks in with me when we are physically in front of each other. There is no sensuality present. There is none of that. Yet in my head, I've created this whole life for us. Like, it's lit in my head, but in reality, none of that is true. And it's a borderline, it's not even borderline, it's delusional. It's delusional for me to think this way. So lately, I've been actively speaking against those thoughts. I've been actively stopping myself from going down this fantasy lane, because I've gone down there so many times and I've been disappointed because, oh wait, in the real world, this is not what's happening between us right now. And so I need to check back into reality and stop letting delusional mama get in the way. But in this moment in time, I was thinking to myself, I was thinking those thoughts, and I was thinking, let me just see where this goes. So he texted me his location. And bitch, his location is an hour and 22 minutes away from where I am. And here's the thing with Texas. Nothing's around the corner. You don't go somewhere and you're 10 minutes out. Unless you're in the Houston downtown area and everywhere that you go to is in the Houston downtown area, then it does feel more like, oh, it's 10, 15, 20-minute drive. But I've lived in suburban areas since I moved here. And the first, my apartment was in another suburban town, but it was a little bit closer to Houston downtown. And now living in another suburban city in Texas, it's a little bit further than I was to downtown compared to when I lived in my previous suburban city. So I'm used to traveling a little bit further than my peers because I'm not in the Houston downtown area, and nor am I extremely close to it. So yes, I considered driving to him because I'm like, well, I could just put on a podcast, play some music. Time will go by fast. I've driven long period of times before, so it's not a big deal. I'll be fine. So I decided to just go forward with it. And the reason why, so he didn't come to get me because apparently his checkout time was coming up, and it just didn't make sense for him to drive down here an hour out just for us to go. Like, it just didn't make sense. So it just made more sense for me to drive over there, which was fine. He did say though that he was willing to drive to me the exact time when I responded to his, like, when he sent me his text. So like, had I been up at 1:27 a.m. and I agreed to meeting up with him, he would have picked me up, he said, which I believe, which would have been fine. Anyway, but praise God that didn't happen, because no. So anyway, I drive there, and another reason why, so he was at Texas A&M, which is a really big university here in Texas. And I read about the university. I've, learned a little bit about the facts about the university. So it was just a nice actual opportunity for me to just kind of check out the campus, the little time that I could. So I go there, and this nigga's in a penthouse. He is in a penthouse. And I'm just like, okay, where's this coming from? He was able to get a hookup from his friend. But he's in a penthouse by himself, and it's nice. It's nice. And sometimes I do act like I've never seen nice things, but I'm just a kid in the candy store. I like looking at nice things, and I like really feeling the moment of the niceness of it all. So it's exciting to have been in a penthouse. Like, I don't think I've ever experienced being in a penthouse. I know what it looks like. I've seen it on TV. I read about it. I seen it on YouTube, but as far as actually being in one physically in the moment of time, I haven't experienced that. So it was nice to experience that. And I was really in awe. So that was nice. And he was driving a nice car, like a foreign car. Like, all of these things just made him look good just off of principle. Like, oh, he's in a penthouse. Oh, he's driving a foreign. All this looks nice, but none of that made me wet for him. None of that helped him, because I, in that moment, realized I'm not attracted to this guy. I'm not attracted to him romantically. But my pussy doesn't get wet for him. I don't look at him and be like, oh man, I just want to jump his bones. Or I don't feel, butterflies, flirtatious stuff in my stomach when I was in his presence. Now, y'all may be thinking, in case you're new here, what do you mean? Like, didn't you see him before? No. Okay, let me give y'all complete context. So the very first time me and him met, we actually did meet in person. And that was a time when I was living in Boston and I was active in my church. I was a part of the praise and worship team. And as you guys know or may know, he is a musician, and he's a big focal point in his church. So being a Haitian church, we're not in the same church, but he knows some people from my church, and they were able to make connections. So sometimes he will come to my church and play. And so we met at one of the times when he came to the church, and he was setting up for his piano, and all of that is the setting in which we met. So we met then, and that was many years ago. I forgot how old I was, but he was obviously younger because he's 4 years younger than me. But at the time, I was just not looking at him like that, because I knew he was younger than me, and I could tell he was younger than me. But I knew that he, at least in that moment in time, he looked good. Like, he looked handsome. Like, he looked well put together. And so that was the first time that we met. And we saw each other once or twice when I invited him to this prayer circle that I was holding, that I was in charge of at my church for the young adults. So he would come, and so I've seen him physically at one point, okay? But for the most part of our relationship, of our dating situation, whatever, we've been long distance. We've been texting, we've been FaceTiming, we've been talking on the phone, but it's been mostly that. We have not had the intimate moments that that you would have through text, through phone call. We haven't had that in person. So we've only gotten through breakthroughs in our situation via text, via phone, period. So that's just been the thing. So, okay, I finally get to see him in person years later, and this is a different context, because the first time we met, it was not on some romantic shit. I was not interested in him like that. I was not even looking at him like that. And years later, now that we have built a level of relationship between us where there's an intimacy there, we haven't had the opportunity to really explore that physically in person with each other. So seeing him for the first time yesterday from this recording, this was my first time seeing him, first time meeting him under the lights, under the tents, or under, the relationship that we've built for the past year. So I come to this penthouse, and I'm just like, all of this is nice. Like, all of this is nice. The penthouse is nice. The foreign car is nice. All this looks good. but I still don't feel it for you. And that's just literally what it is. I do not feel an attraction towards him. I do not feel a desire towards him. I don't care that he's driving a foreign car. I don't care that he's in a penthouse. I fuck niggas in a basement. Can we just stop right there and just give God praise? I've fucked niggas in a basement many a times. I fucked niggas in a shack that was an extension built in the family home. Okay? This penthouse means nothing to me. It looks nice. It's pretty. Take nice Instagram pictures, but it doesn't make you look sexy to me. If I've never felt that way towards you, this penthouse is never gonna work. Like, it doesn't do the job. It doesn't do it justice at all. That's why I can't understand how women who are clearly with men who are much, much older than them, and they're clearly with them for financial reasons, but they want to give this impression that I really love him. He is a great he's a great provider. Of course he's a great provider. Of course he is. He's rich. Of course. And of course he wants to be with you because you look good on his arm. But as far as you really be like, you really fuck that nigga? Like, I don't know if you guys know Erica Kane is from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She actually really recently just filed divorce from her husband. Her husband is a good 25 years older than her. And she is still this beautiful spring chicken of a woman, like beautiful woman. She's in her 40s now, but she still looks good. And her husband is in his 70s, about to croak. And yet she's been with him for 25 years. But if you understand the story behind her being, like, she didn't come from a silver spoon. She had to struggle many years, and she come across this rich investor. I don't know how he makes it. Oh, he's a lawyer actually, but he makes really, like, maybe he does do some investments, but he makes a lot of money. And she has been married to him up until recently, since she filed divorce, but she's with him. And I just think about all the years that they've been together, and she had to have sex with him. And I'm just like, I could never be that girl. I can't. If I'm not attracted to you, this is not going anywhere. I could try my best, right? And I've tried. Like with Church Bay, this was our first time meeting each other in the context of us, like right after us already building a romantic situation. And seeing him still doesn't do it for me. But the time prior to this, I've created a fantasy in my head with him. Even though, you know, we saw each other through FaceTime and we've FaceTime many times, it's different when you are with someone in person and you have to assess whether or not you feel it for that person. And this was the moment when I had to assess. And in that moment, as I was touring his penthouse, I felt nothing. Like, my pussy couldn't be drier. Like, if there was a way for my pussy to be dry, it probably couldn't have been, because it was so dried. Like, it was the driest it could have ever been. And let me tell you another, there's more to it, y'all. And I'm walking you through every moment of this decision that I made to meet up with him since he came to Texas. Just for a short period of time. I'm on the bed, right? Mind you, we're not fucking, nothing happened. Like, I'm just laying on the bed, just taking it in that I'm in a penthouse. And he is so juvenile. So let's just start there. And I've said it already, but I just want to give you guys more of that adjective, because really sit with that definition. Like, just like juvenile, youthful, just kind of young in his approach to anything. I just see it as this, like, you got this fine ass bitch in your room in the penthouse. As soon as I walk into your penthouse, you should be on me. And not some rapey shit, of course, but like, you should give me some energy to show me that, oh, look, we're here. And yes, we haven't spoken in almost 3 months. So it might feel like, I don't know if it's my place for me to do this, right? But I also feel like knowing that I decided to drive to you, knowing that I decided to take on this drive of 1 hour and 22 minutes to see you, and it's our first time seeing each other after we have built a romantic situation between us for almost a year now. Well, not even. Am I saying too much? Maybe 8 months. 8 months or so. But this is finally our time to see each other, and we've already created this intimacy between us for that period of time, and this is our first time seeing each other. And yes, it's been 3 months since we've spoken, and we ended things, and I've walked away from it. I still feel like you could have taken your shot. You could have tried more. You could have tried better. He wasn't giving me enough energy. So I'm on the bed, laying on the bed, like, okay, let me give him an opportunity, because I feel like I had to help him out. Like, he was just kind of shy and just like awkward. We were still conversing because nothing else with him. We do have good enough conversations. Like, we could talk. You know, he's not quiet. He talks, and so he gives me a little something to go off of. But I realized, okay, I have to kind of, and even though I wasn't interested in doing anything with him, I just felt like, let me just give him a bone. You know, let me just give him a fucking bone. So I'm laying on his bed. I'm still clothed. I'm still like, everything is still on me. Trust. And he gets on the bed, and he like jumps over me. He jumps over me, and his head is like right on my stomach. He jumps over me like he's a child. And this goes back to what I'm saying about juvenile shit. Like, what are you doing? Can we just stop? He jumps over me. He puts his head on my stomach, and he's just like, it's like he was trying to cradle me or something. It was just the weirdest position he was trying to create in that moment. I'm just thinking to myself, what is wrong with this man? Like, and I'm like, oh, ding, 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 ding. He's young. That's it. He's young. He is a child. Maybe I'm a pedophile, but let me stop. JK, just kidding. But the fact that I feel like his behavior and his approach towards me is so childish that I should probably be registered as a sex offender. Like, I shouldn't even be here. Like, that's how childish he has been behaving in this moment. Like, a real nigga, a whole man, a whole grown ass man, a man with a mortgage, a man with a rent payment to make every month would know what to do in that moment. You have this fine ass woman on your bed, and you jump on me and you put your head on my stomach. And he's like, and then another thing with him that proves more of his juvenile ways is that when we were talking a lot, like when we were dating and talking to each other and building intimacy with each other via phone, via text, via FaceTime, we will always play with each other. Like, Maxie, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna really, oh, you want to talk all this smack? All right, I got you next time. I got you. You know, like, you know how you will play with a dude and, you know, you will talk smack to him and y'all would do that little talk game. That's what we would do sometimes, right? And he's like, yo, just wait until I see you. I got you right on my neck. I got you, I got you like right here. You know, that little cute shit that niggas do. I realized that is still juvenile, and even though I participated in it, maybe I'm at fault. You know, like, maybe I should have never participated in that. But either way, it's something that you say in the moment, like just some funny, lighthearted shit, right? You don't really mean that. Like, I'm not really about to meet up with you and fuck you up. Like, obviously, like, we're not aggressive. Like, I'm not a man. I'm not gonna fight another man. But what I noticed with him in that moment when we finally saw each other for the first time, he was really trying to bring into fruition all of the smack talking that I've said previously. And he was really trying to like box me, like not some aggressive, like real anger type of shit, but like he was really trying to play fight me. That's what it is. Play fight. And I'm just at a loss. Like, what are you doing? There was a moment when I was sitting on a chair and he comes up behind me, and not even on some cute shit. Like, it's one thing to come up behind a woman and you hold her from the back, you know, you rub on her butt. No, he comes up behind me, y'all. He has a towel in his hand and he imitates as if he's about to choke me. Now, praise the Lord, I've never been in situations where that happened in my life, where this is possibly a trigger. And I instantly, you know, I'm laughing it off. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you know, just pushing him off. But just the fact that you thought this was okay is mind-boggling to me. The fact that you thought to go behind a woman, a black woman, I'm going to put all the cards there, but like, you thought this was funny? You think it's funny? This is your way of flirting with me? Like, we need to do better. And this again speaks to his youthfulness. It speaks to his juvenile immaturity that I cannot surpass. Like, I can't just ignore this. I can't act like this is not a thing that really bothers me. And I honestly can't even fault him. I can't. And throughout this experience, I realize it's not even like, I can't even be mad at him, right? Like, I can't be mad at you for being who you are. That's who you are. You're 25. Of course, I mean, even 25, I feel like you shouldn't be doing that. But I feel like at least, okay, you're 25. This is what a 25 nigga might do. Maybe. But with him, I just feel like I can't fault him entirely, because this is what at his young age would do. This is what his fellow niggas would do, maybe. You know, it's not right. It doesn't make sense for me to be mad at him. That's just who he is. And this is where he is in his life. And I can't expect for him to be the man that I would like for him to be, because that's just not who he is right now. And I have to accept that. And I did. And I moved on. But it was just being in this moment and realizing, oh, wow, like, you're really childish. Like, oh, wow, you're a child. I know you're above 18. I know you're above 21. I know you're 25. But you're dead ass a child. And I'm just sitting back like, God damn, what was I doing? What was I thinking? So he's laying on me and trying to be cute, trying to be flirtatious. I'm talking, actually. I'm in the moment. I'm talking. And before I spoke, I was trying to tell myself or convince myself, you know, mama, just go with the flow. Like, if you want to kiss him, then kiss him. If you want to just flirt with him, then flirt with him. But I couldn't, because first I'll be lying to myself. I'm not interested in kissing you. I'm not attracted to you. I'm not interested in you filling up on me. I'm not interested in any of that, because I'm simply am not attracted to you. Nothing you could do right now could make me attract to you. Like, I can't change that. I can't. And so I was speaking out loud, and I was also talking about, so I was saying how, you know, why would you text me at 1:27 in the morning and expect for me to be up and be okay with meeting up with you? And I was just going on about that. Like, even if I was up, I feel like it's still inappropriate for you to just expect for me to just be ready for you at the drop of a dime. So you've been here. So we talked about, so he was in Texas for, since Thursday. He hits me up Friday night, and then he's leaving. He hits me, really early Saturday morning at 1:27 Saturday morning. And then he's leaving Saturday afternoon. And I'm like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you expect for me to be ready for you or even request for my time when you're leaving in 3 hours? Like, does that make sense to you? Like, are you a retard? What's going on? And then he was just trying to explain everything. And it it speaks more to the ill-equipped mental capacity that he has. Like, there is a mental disconnect. Even though you had a whole itinerary when you came down here, if you knew that, hey, you know what, let me just ask Maxine if she's free at this time on Friday or whatever day, and we could meet up. Like, I could make this happen. Like, there is joy in planning. There is joy in making a plan. And the fact that you didn't make a plan to see me when you came down here, and then you hit me up on a whim, like, were you drunk last night? I did ask him that. He said no, he doesn't drink like that. And it just speaks more to his juvenileness. Okay? So I'm saying all these things, and I'm just like really putting him to the fire. Like, what? And I'm laughing, y'all. I'm not upset. I'm not crying. I'm not hurt. I'm just like telling him, like, this is what? Like, I'm literally laughing at him or laughing about the situation. And I'm just like, why would you do that? And then he's speechless. He thought it will be fine, because when we were talking, there have been many nights when I've stayed up with him talking on the phone, and we're just like talking. But so he doesn't know or didn't expect for me to be someone who goes to sleep early. And I've been going to sleep early consistently. I just like doing that. So he didn't really expect that, and he was just trying to explain himself, but most times he was quiet and just letting me talk, and I guess was stumped. So I'm laying down, he's on my stomach, and then he's trying to be cute. I think he's trying to up the ante here. So now he goes towards my cheek, y'all. He goes towards my cheek, and he kisses my cheek. And it was at that point where I just thought to myself, what the fuck is reality? Like, what is this? And it's not, I can't even tell y'all how I was really feeling in that moment, because I was just still at a loss that, why are you kissing my cheek? Like, a real nigga will rough me. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm not trying to attract any rapists. I'm really not. I'm just talking about, like, I want my man to be assertive, respectfully. You know, I want him to not be afraid of coming towards me, of approaching me. You kissing my cheek? And let me tell y'all how he kissed my cheek. Let me tell y'all how he kissed my cheek. I'm going to try my best to imitate the noises, and I hope you can understand. So he's doing this. He's doing this, right? Like, sound like a damn fish. And the best way I could describe it is when you're kissing a baby. When you are kissing a baby in the cheek, like, oh, look at my baby, mwah, 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 that, mwah, mwah, like literally, mwah, like hearing the mwah, 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 that's what he was doing on my cheek, y'all. And I'm laughing. I'm like, I don't give a fuck at this point, because I've already realized, oh, I'm definitely not fucking you. I don't care we in a penthouse. I don't care we're on a private jet. I'm still not opening my legs to you. That's still not happening. So he's kissing me on my cheek, and I'm laughing. And I'm like, why are you kissing me like I'm a baby? And he's like, I'm not kissing you like a baby. I'm like, you are. You're kissing me like a baby. Like, you're kissing me like you're about to say, mwah, mwah, oh, Gucci, Gucci, goo. I'm saying all of this to him because I don't give a fuck. What are you doing? This is how you flirt? This is your first time meeting me after we've built a romantic situation between us for 8 months or so, and this is how you are? This is so corny. I'm done. I want to run away. So I'm calling him out in the moment. He's like not knowing how to react, and like, I'm not trying to be rude. I really am not, because at the end of the day, I did come here to see you. I did decide to make this trip. I did decide to drive an hour and 22 minutes to see you, because I felt like I owed it to us in the sense that we haven't seen each other since we've started talking to each other on a romantic level. And so even though we stopped 2 or 3 months ago, I still felt like I needed to see him just for the moment, just to really close the chapter, really. So seeing him and really seeing all that I thought he was in my, like, all that I realized was a strong reason why I needed to let him go and needed to just walk away from this. I saw it in my face. Like, it was dead ass proof. It was evidence that, oh, he's really a child. He's a baby. He's a baby. I should be doing this. Like, that's what he is. And let me tell you guys about personal hygiene. I just don't understand why some men, and I think it's a man thing too, because I noticed this with a couple of guys I've dated. Some of y'all don't care about your dental hygiene. I'm gonna say it again. Some of y'all don't care about your dental hygiene. Some of y'all are seriously going about your day with plaque buildup all on your teeth. Some of y'all are going about your day with plaque buildup all on your teeth. Hold on, let me just take this. So yes, there is plaque buildup all on his teeth, y'all. I wish I was making this up. I wish this was a lie. I wish it was a lie, but it's not a lie. He was like standing over me or like leaning over me. And I'm noticing on his teeth, there's a different color suddenly, but it's happening towards the top of his teeth. So like you could see a difference. There's a discoloration on his teeth. And I'm not even trying to look intently. You just look and you see things, right? And so I see it and I'm just like, what? Like, and it's not even like, oh, you know how some people just have plaque buildup and it's just a little, and that just means they probably postponed their latest dental appointment. No. He's never seen a dentist. That's how much plaque buildup he has on his teeth, y'all. That's how much of a plaque situation he got going on. And again, it's a testament to his juvenile, youthful, immature ways. Why aren't you keeping up with your dental health? Why is there plaque? It was just so disgusting. Like, ew, I'm definitely not kissing you in the mouth. Okay? Stop. So there was that. So when I arrived, he knew, first we already spoke. I agreed to driving there. And my drive, I told him, was going to be an hour and 22 minutes. In that hour and 22 minutes, you had all the time in the world to get yourself together. And what I mean by that is take a fucking shower, get dressed, put a cologne on, do something worthwhile that makes you look good. I get there, y'all, and we get in his penthouse. I'm sitting on a couch, and he's, again, with his juvenile ways, he sits on my lap. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You should try to motion me to be on your lap. But okay, he sits on my lap and I'm noticing a smell. I'm like, you smell. And I'm like, everything I'm saying, y'all, at least most of the things, I didn't tell him that he has plaque in his mouth, in his teeth, but some things I am saying out loud. And I'm like, dang, you smell. He's like, oh, I didn't. I'm like, did you shower yet? He's like, oh, no, I didn't shower. I'm like, what? Why did you shower? Like, you knew I was going to come here. Or you had enough time to shower and get dressed. He's like, oh, he was still asleep. By the time I came, and he apparently, he was up late at night, which explains the late text that he sent me. But the point is, you could have still taken a shower as soon as I said, I'm on my way. You could have gotten yourself together and then got back in the bed and just napped until I finally arrived. Like, there's no excuse to being smelly. Like, what is happening? So he's smelling. He gets undressed to go take a shower, right? Before he takes a shower, I've seen his bathroom, the bathroom at the penthouse. And in the bathroom, there's a nice big old tub, beautiful tub. And I always said, when I get my house, when I purchase my first home, I want a beautiful bathtub. And I don't want it connected to the shower. I want it to be separate. So I was just going on about that, and I'm back in the bedroom. He's about to go take a shower or go to the bathroom to get himself together. And he says, oh, come with me. Let's take a bath together. And I'm just like, no, like, I know I just said I love the bathtub here. It's beautiful and I would love to have this in my first home, right? But I'm still not going to take a bath with you because one, I'm not attracted to you. And two, I already dressed. I'm already moisturized. My body is already done and well taken care of. Now you want me to go back in this bathtub and start from scratch? I don't have my products here. I don't have anything that I use every morning when I take a shower, every time when I take a shower. Now you want me to go in here for what? Like you're trying to build or create this romantic comedy scene that we see in the movies of taking a shower or taking a bath specifically with your spouse, with your partner. But it's not happening here. None of this is going to happen right now. So don't even try it. And he was like trying to convince me. I'm like, no. And I was going on and explaining how I don't have my stuff here. Like I use African shea butter when I moisturize my skin. What the fuck you got? Aveeno? What the fuck is an Aveeno? What you got? Jergens? Huh? What you got? Cetaphil? I'm not taking a bath with you right now. I'm not doing that. Stop. That's so gross. So he finally takes a shower. He comes back out, and I already knew, like, you could tell from about like a person's physique when they're wearing clothes, what type of physique they have. You could tell the type of body type that they have. And being that me and him have spoken for, we dated and, all that for, a couple of months, I knew how his body looked like. I knew that I wasn't attracted to his body because he didn't have muscles. He doesn't have muscles. He doesn't work out, period. He doesn't know or hasn't taken the time to really taking his physique seriously. He doesn't eat well. He doesn't eat much, really. So he doesn't know what it looks like to put on weight and work out so your muscles could come up and you are more physically built. He doesn't know any of that. So the fact that he is about to take a shower and he took a shower, he comes out the shower, and of course, men, they have their chest out. I knew he was going to have his chest out, and I knew I could not look at him. I knew I was going to be instantly so turned off to the point where I would just run away from this penthouse. I would just run away. So I was purposely closing my eyes, and at that time I was getting a headache because y'all know when I get a headache, that means I'm hungry and I haven't been fed yet or I haven't eaten yet and it's time. So I was using that as an excuse as to why my eyes were closed. And I was just doing that because primarily I don't want to see your upper torso. I don't want to see your little bitch ass nipples. I don't want to see nothing on you. Like, I'm so unattracted to you. It's really shameful. Like, it's really shameful that we've reached a point here where we finally see each other and I am completely unattracted to you. Like, there's no way for your dick to come inside of me. Like, there's no way. And here's the thing. I've been in situations, like, not every guy that I've dated, that I've had sex with, have I been attracted to. Like, this is not something that I'm only, talking to GQ niggas. I just put myself in positions where my worthiness wasn't up to par. So I accepted any old willy-nilly type of nigga. Okay, I accepted niggas who I knew I wasn't into like that. I was in a whole relationship with a guy for 1 year, and I was not physically attracted to him. But I stayed in that relationship because I didn't have enough self-esteem. I didn't have enough worth within myself. I didn't know my own worth. So I stayed in that situation. It was a real relationship. I stayed in that relationship for 1 year, even though his skin made me crawl, even though I hated the way he kissed me, even though he was short. Like, I stayed there because I didn't have enough self-esteem. That's really what it is. When you are in situations time and time again, you realize, oh, it's not them, it's me. It's really me. You know, people say that phrase, it's not you, it's me. I know it sounds like bullshit, but it's really the truth. Like, it's not you. Like, yeah, you may have asshole tendencies. Yeah, you may X, Y, and Z, right? But it's really me who needs to get away from this because it's not conducive. This whole situation is not conducive to my self-growth, ultimately. So going back to Church Bay, I was just at a loss because I realized that I am completely unattracted to you. And literally everything that it just, like, my skin was crawling. And I'm so grateful for growth because in that moment I realized, oh wow, I really fuck with myself. Like, I really love myself, because the old mama would have still surrendered to it, would have still, okay, I'm just gonna go with the flow, even though my body is not attracted to him, even though my body is telling me, girl, what the fuck are you doing? Leave the room. I don't care if it's a penthouse, leave the room. Eat, like, you know, like, I've grown so much. And we ended up having a conversation. I was going in some more about, like, yo, you really, what were you expecting? Like, say if I did come here at night, you know, well, early Saturday morning when you hit me up at 1:27 a.m. What were you expecting? Like, why would you think it was appropriate for you to hit me up at that time? It's inappropriate. And I also feel like, you know, we haven't spoken in X amount of time, you know, almost 3 months, and now you hit me up on some random shit and you expect for me to just be ready for you. Like, I'm a grown-ass woman. Like, I don't appreciate that. And I was also saying how, like, you know, but like, I was also saying how I'm just not there with you anymore. Like, even though we're here, right, it's a grand opportunity for us to do whatever we want to do in this nice ass penthouse. I still don't want to do that with you, because what you said to me when we were still dating was that you're not in a position to love. You're not there mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You have a lot of growing to do. You have a lot of miles to reach. And why would I continue or even give you access to me when I know you can't feed me where I need to be fed? Like, why would I do that? So I was just saying all that. And I was so proud of myself. Like, all of this needed to happen for this very moment here, because I realized, wow, look at the motherfucking growth. Look at the growth. I was thinking to myself, let me just go with the flow. We're at a penthouse. But no, I'm still in the business of honoring myself, regardless if we're in a penthouse, regardless if you drive in a foreign. I'm still not going to do what I know is not best for me. Like, I'm still not going to just shut up and go with the flow because, oh, well, girl, it's a penthouse. It's a once in a lifetime type of thing. Like, no, it's not. I'll have many opportunities to be at a penthouse. And the next opportunity will be with a nigga whom I'm actually attracted to. With a nigga who's in a position to love. With a nigga who is mature. Who is assertive. Who is adventurous. Who is all these things. And I can't. And who doesn't give me baby kisses? My pussy is dry. What are you doing? Like, literally, I'm not even exaggerating, y'all. That's how he was kissing me on my cheek. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I also, like, I'm not in a space where I want to bash him. I know I'm clearly am, but I'm not doing from a malintent place, because that's not productive either. I don't want to necessarily burn a bridge with him. Like, me and him still haven't talked since that moment. So, like, we had breakfast after he checked out. We went to go out to eat, and like, he was still, you know, gentleman-like, and I wasn't a bitch, you know. He paid for my meal, and we had it was a peace time. It was peace, okay? But the point is, I knew nothing was gonna happen from here on out. I knew that this was what I needed to show myself why I walked away when I did, why I decided to leave him on red after he decided, hey, I'm not sure about us, but I don't want to give up on us. I'm just going to continue pursuing you and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, cool. He said that he still wants to try with us. Mind you, I'm talking about 3 months ago when we hit that wall. And he said to me how he's not sure about us. And he kind of he left me on red. He left me on red initially and left me wondering. I'm trying to reach out to him. He's not picking up the phone. And finally he calls me back. And all of this could have been handled properly had he was mature about it, had he used his communication skills, all of these things. But because of his youth, because of his immaturity, because of the fact that he has a lot of growing to do, he was not able to properly communicate. He was not able to properly handle himself in that moment. And he was not in a position where he knew what he wanted. And I don't want to be with a scary nigga. I don't want to try to make it work with someone because, oh, well, he at least does this. He at least does that. All these things. And so all of this made me realize, oh, I'm really good. Like, I'm really that bitch. Like, I've grown so much and I'm just sitting here smiling to myself. Because when I was telling him everything in that moment, I was like, yeah, the old me would have been like, okay, well, I'm still gonna fuck you. I'm still gonna have fun with you. Even though you've already told me that you don't know about me, I'm still gonna give you access to me. But being in front of him in that moment, I was telling him, yeah, no, I'm not interested in any of that. Like, I'm not interested at all in having sex with you and X, Y, and Z and any of that. So that's it. And I was thinking about Boston Bay. Because I was thinking, like, if it was Boston Bay in this room, y'all, and I'm just going to be honest, because I'm always honest, a bitch probably would have opened her legs. But you know what? I probably wouldn't even have responded to Boston Bay for us to even be in the penthouse. You know what I mean? Because I know with him, there is a level of weakness that I have because I am so physically attracted to him. Boston Bay, I'm speaking of. Boston Bay has this physique, has this physical aura to him that I am so attracted to. So yes, he's a fucking asshole. Yes, he's a narcissist. I'm not a doctor, but a duck is a duck is a duck is a duck. Okay? And Boston Bay is all of that. But he's fine. He's a fine narcissist. Okay? Like, if I'm gonna fuck someone, let it be a fine narcissist. That's Boston Bay. And that's Boston Bay. And I was thinking to myself, like, damn, if it was just Boston Bay in here, if it was Boston Bay, in spite of his assholeness, in spite of his meanness, I would still, let's just say, highly considered giving him play in that moment because, well, we in a penthouse. Like, I would have found some excuse to give myself to just go with the flow in this moment because of the physical attraction that I have for him. And his aura is more than just a physical attraction thing with Boston Bay. He has this swag about him, this confidence with him that I love, that I really enjoy. And with Church Bay, he lacks all of that. Like, not only am I physically unattracted to him, it's this immaturity that he has that I don't feel like, I don't feel safe with you in that sense. Like, I want my nigga to feel like, oh, he protects me. He got me. And with Boston Bay, I get that from him, but not with Church Bay. And I was like, damn, I wish I could just kind of build a nigga right here in this moment. Like, okay, I want my man to have the same beautiful, attractive physique that Boston Bay has. Boom. Okay, step 1. Okay, step 2, let him have this caring, nice, considerate, thoughtful personality like Church Bay has. Boom. Okay, step 2. Like, I wish I could just build a nigga. Because if that man that I just built was at the penthouse with me, it would have been on and popping. It would have been on and popping. But because Church Bay is just so not that, so not attractive, like, nigga has plaque in his teeth. He's not muscular at all, doesn't eat right, hasn't had an avocado ever. This is his first time having avocado, and he's eating it, and he's like, oh my god, this is so good. Like, just a fucking loser. It's a loser shit. He's kissing my cheek all nervous and shit like I'm a baby. Why are you giving me baby kisses? So it's all of that, and all of this needed to happen because I needed to see it in my face. I needed it to be evidence for me to realize, wow, I'm growing. Because again, I've had sex with guys who I wasn't attracted to, who I shouldn't have even given time or day, but because I was such in a position of trying to find my worth. I was trying to find it in this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy. Yet I didn't realize it's all within me. So now seeing that, oh, I said no to Church Bay in this penthouse, in this nice foreign car, in this all this beautiful aesthetic. I still said no to you because you don't meet me where I need to be met. And I'm not gonna just go through with it because, oh, go with the flow. Go with the flow. So I say all that to say I'm a dope ass bitch. No, I say all that to say because I think we need to give ourselves moments to sit back and pause and reflect on our growth. How can I just tell myself, wow, I've grown so much, because the old me would have done this, the old me would have done that, but now look at where I'm at. And I know the old me is proud. I'm proud. So that's what's up. And I also look at this as a time to create space. Like I'm creating space for the guy that I want. And here's what I'm at, actually. I realized that I want options. I do want options. I ultimately do want a monogamous relationship with one person, but before getting there, I want to have a choice between guy 1 and guy 2. Okay, I want to be able to decide, this guy is great at this, but this guy's great at that. Which one do I really want to commit to? I want that. So I was typing down the guy guy 1, the attributes guy 1 would have, and I was typing down the attributes guy 2 would have, and ultimately they have the same attributes. The only difference is, so let's talk about the same attributes that they have. They're kind, attractive. I'm attracted to them. They're assertive. So they're in a position in their life right now where they are interested in building with one person, and that person is me. They are interested in being exclusive with one person, and that person is me. So they are in a position to love, to receive love, to give love, all of that. They're funny and they're thoughtful. Okay. So that's the main attributes that both guys will have. Again, I'm creating space for these guys. So this is me literally typing it down, thinking it out loud, imagining it, dream practicing it, all that. The only difference between guy 1 and guy 2 is guy 1 is adventurous. He likes to do fun outings. Instead of like a typical date stuff, let's go to the movies, let's go out to eat, which is cool, but let's think out the box. Let's be more adventurous, because I'm an adventurous person, so it'll be nice if guy 1 was adventurous, right? So that's that's 1. Guy 2, yeah, he could be adventurous, but I want guy 2 to be luxurious. I want him to be in a position in his life right now where he can afford the nice things, and not only can he afford them, he could afford me the nice things as well. And he is generous with that. And he's ultimately giving me a preview of a life with him in regards to specifically to luxury. Like, I want to have access to that. Why not? Like, why can't I know the experience or feel the experience of flying first class, of eating at a 5-10-star restaurant and not being stingy with it, or, like, I want that level of luxury and more. And those are the differences between guy 1 and guy 2. Now, look, if I could have one guy have all of those things, that'd be great. But I do want to just have the experience of having 2 guys. I just want to keep it at 2 because I'm the type of person, I really like to keep all my energy in one basket. But I do want to experience two guys at once and date them and really just experience what it would be like to be with this guy committed versus with this guy committed, and deciding from there. I want to feel like, oh, I'm choosing you, because that's really what it is. And I'm doing this for myself because I've dated many guys before where I've only chosen them. Like, it was immediate. My choice was them because I didn't have options in that moment in time. I didn't have quality options, let's say that, at that time. So it was just easy for me to go ahead. Okay, well, I'm going to choose you and focus on you as we date and then fall off the face of the earth, But now I want to have the choice to decide, you know what? I had a great time getting to know you, but I'm going to say that, I'm just going to walk away from here, or, I'm just going to end it with you because I chose this other guy. So that's ultimately what I want to experience, and I'm creating space for that. And I'm excited. I'm excited because there is so much amazingness of it all that I'm just sitting in. I'm sitting in the fact of my growth. I'm sitting in the fact that I've done so much inner work. I've done so much healing work. And of course it continues, right? But I've done so much already, and I see the fruits of my labor. I see where I am versus where I've been, and I'm just so proud of that. And I don't feel sad of the loss of Church Bay. I don't feel sad of that situation being done. I feel excited because now there is space that I'm creating for guy 1 and guy 2. So that's how I see it, and I'm so excited for that. I want to give you guys a quick update as I close on my housing status. So as you know, I did give a disclaimer in the last episode because I wanted to, and the reason why I did that disclaimer because after I recorded that episode, I decided to have a conversation with my uncle, and I was the one who actually initiated it. And I was nervous about it because I was feeling all those feelings, right? I was feeling uncomfortable knowing that, oh, wait, he's going to charge me. I told him I'm going to stay here just no more than a year to buy a house. Like, I thought he was going to just let me stay here rent free. And I was feeling uncomfortable about the episode being released because I was feeling like maybe some people won't understand where I'm coming from. And I typically don't have that fear because, I've said a lot of things on this podcast that some of y'all don't understand. It's fine. But I was feeling like I may have come across spoiled or privileged, and that was giving me cringy feelings. And I didn't want to come off as a spoiled brat. I really didn't. I just wanted to continue to explain why I felt somewhat entitled. I think it's an entitlement. That's fine. But I felt like there was this sudden shake that I was feeling in regards to my plans for myself. And I was feeling the complete emotion of anxiety, of feeling like, what if I can't set out to do what I have planned for myself because of what this is looking like to me as a setback. And the setback being, oh, now I have to pay somewhat of a rent fee now that I'm staying here. And I came across this quote as I was still completing, and I'm still in the process of completing my vision board. And the quote is, "The secret to dealing with setbacks, pause, then pivot." And this resonated with me because I don't necessarily pivot as much as I could, or I don't consider pivoting as part of the journey. I think about it as, okay, this is a linear experience. I'm going to easily save money and I'm going to buy my house and this is going to happen just fine. And the reason why I stayed here or came to live here again, and again being that when I first moved here, I stayed here the first 3 weeks of me moving to Houston, and then I found my apartment. So that's why I said again. But this is my first time staying here at this lengthened position, at this lengthened time. And I was just thinking to myself, like, okay, this is all a part of the plan. Like, I'm saving my money. I'm paying down my debt. I'm getting my ducks in a row. And when he hit me with the whole, here's the $750 that you have to pay every month, starting this month, starting next month, just made me feel like, whoa, I can't do this. I can't get this goal accomplished. I can't now. Now that he put this obstacle in my way, now that this burden is now in my way, I can't get to the goal that I want for myself, that I want to accomplish for myself. And it's not that I can't. I had to tell myself, no, I still can accomplish. Yes, I have to pay this rent fee, and yes, it is what it is. We did negotiate to a lower price, so that's cool, but still not the price that I initially countered him with. He still got the last word, which is, it is what it is, right? Because I'm living under his house, so it's his rules, and I could do it. And that's the thing. I sometimes doubt if I could do something, and coming across this obstacle made me feel like I can't do it. Made me feel like, oh great, what can I do now? And when I came across this quote, the secret to dealing with setbacks, pause, then pivot. It just means, okay, look, I'm still going to save however much. I'm still going to pay down however much, and I'm still going to find a way, not even find a way, but I'm still going to, I'm carving out my income to add this to the plan. And I can do it. We all could do it. We are always going to come across obstacles, no matter how big or small they may be. Obstacles is a requirement, it seems as though, and it's a part of life. So I have to learn how to pause, decide, okay, what is the now plan? How much can I save now? Or how much can I pay down now at this time, while still meeting this new responsibility of paying him a rent fee? So, it is what it is. And I think this is just a part of life, and this is the growing and the adulting that I'm experiencing. That's just the reality of it all. And I decided to stay here in case, I said that in the disclaimer, but I decided to stay at his house because I just realized, it makes more sense financially for me to stay than pay full market rent at this time when I'm trying to save. And yes, you can still save for a house while living in an apartment, but I don't need to necessarily do that when I could just stay here and save a little bit more, and much more, and still meet the goals that I need to meet for myself. So all of that to say that whenever setbacks come your way, maybe change your mindset when you think about it. Like, it's not necessarily a setback, it's a setup. It's a setup for you to plan more effectively. It's a setup for you to decide what is more important and how can I put everything in the order needed to accomplish this set goal. And it can happen. So I just had to remind myself, oh wait, I still can do what I have set for myself. I will not quit on myself. And that's really what it is. Don't quit on yourself. Whatever goal you have, whatever task you have in front of you, you can still get it done. You just have to find a way. You have to find a way. And when obstacles come your way, because they will, accept it as a part of the plan, pause, then pivot. All right, y'all. I'm done for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate every listen. Reach out to me if you have some feedback. Leave a comment, and I will check in with you all next time. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. Be sure to leave a review, give me 5 stars, and of course, subscribe. Also, follow God Built This Podcast on Instagram at God Built This Pod. God bless.